Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life Worth Reading. Today, I actually wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to talk to you about some of the books that I want to reread this year, some of the books that I'm due for a reread, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the topic of rereading books. I feel like I've seen a lot of discourse surrounding rereading books, and a lot of it is based on the feeling of guilt. I have so many books to read on my physical TBR. Why would I waste my time rereading a book? I have such limited time to read new books. Why would I waste my time reading books that I've already read? Some of the discourse is, and I'm not saying what is right and what is wrong. There's really no right way to feel about rereading books, but I just find it a little bit strange that a lot of it surrounds this immense guilt and a lot of this idea that we are wasting time if we are revisiting something that we've already loved. And though I do agree that it is important to move on and not be stuck in the same rewatching old TV shows, rereading the same old books, rewatching the same movies, I think it is important to get out of the cycle. I am someone who gets really in that cycle sometimes. I love rewatching shows, but I do think it's important to not just do that, obviously, to have new experiences, to experience new feelings, to put yourself out there in the media that you are consuming. But I also think that it's important to, not feel guilty about revisiting something that we've already loved in the past. I have been conflicted about this in my own life because I look at my shelves and I see so many new books that I want to read, but I also look at my shelves and I see so many books that I am feeling pulled towards rereading, that I really want to revisit, that I really want to be immersed in that world again. And so I let go of the fear of wasting time and I put together a list of all the books that I want to reread this year. I am actually going to divide this list into two categories. We have standalone books that I simply do want to revisit and that I do want to reread. And then we also have the series side, which means series that I have to reread some books in order to move on with the series, in order to read the newer books that are coming out, because I have already forgotten. I am not really feeling that secure in my knowledge of the earlier books in order to move on with the series. I'm honestly not really trying to reach any specific conclusion about rereading in this video. I just want to tell you that I'm trying to let go of my own fear of wasting time and my own fear of not continuing on series because I have to reread books, or not rereading some standalone books that I want to read because I have to find new books to read. I'm just trying to let go of my own fear of doing that, and I'm just wanting to encourage you to do the same if you feel that way. If you don't, if you already reread a bunch of books, then that's great. I wish I could be the same, but that's how I'm trying to be this year. And yeah, let's talk about all the books that I'm trying to reread in 2025, because there are a lot of them. I thought that firstly we could maybe tackle the series part of this video because it is one of the most daunting parts for sure. All the books that I have to reread in order to continue on with the series. And first of all, we're going to start out with a banger. We're going to start out with The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Listen, this is a touchy subject for me. I've reread The Poppy War maybe 2, if not 3 times already, because I always intend to continue on with the series and then I just never do. And I think that the last time that I reread this book, it was maybe, it was probably like 2022. So it's been 3 years at this point, and I have already kind of forgotten most of what happens in this book. So I am back to square one. I am back to having to reread the first book in order to move on with the second and the third. And I really want to do that because The Poppy War is one of the most, celebrated fantasy series of the last decade. R.F. Kuang is hailed as a genius for writing this series. I really enjoyed Babel as well. And I really enjoyed this first book. I just don't quite remember a lot of it, And I think like in order for the series to have the dramatic, heartbreaking effect that it's supposed to have and this grand finale that it's supposed to have, I feel like I have to be more immersed in this world. I feel like I just can't read a summary of what happened in this book and move on to the second one. I have to reconnect with these characters again in order for it to apparently destroy me emotionally, like everyone says that it will. And I have to be ready for that, and I have to be here, and I have to be present, and I have to reconnect with these characters in order to care about what happens to them. So I don't know when this is going to happen, because you've seen Dragon Republic on a lot of TBRs in the last year. I don't know when this is going to happen, but it needs to happen soon. Honestly, it really needs to happen soon because I have to finish the series. I have to know what and how it ends. I have to watch this character arc complete, and I have to do it soon while I still have the motivation to do it. I have a lot of books here representing the entire series, and the next one that I have is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I tried reading all of them, the 4 books, in 24 hours for a readathon that I did in 2021. So it's been 4 years now, which is absolutely wild. And I tried reading all of them. Obviously that was not realistic, that did not happen, and I ended up finishing Blue Lily Lily Blue, and then I just never read The Raven King. And honestly, that whole experience is just a blur to me. I cannot remember a single thing that happened in these books. I really cannot. So I just have to reread them. I have to sit down, I have to pay attention, and I have to reread these books. I feel like I'm really going to love it. Every time that I'm thinking about unhauling books and I look at this series, I'm like, no. I'm going to give these books a chance before I unhaul it. I bought the entire series at once. I'm going to give them a chance. And I have to give that chance because it's been 4 years. When will I ever have the motivation and the pull to read these books again? And I think that they will be easy reads. I just feel like they deserve a little bit more time and effort on my part instead of trying to cram them into a 24-hour reading challenge. I just think that they deserve better, and I'm going to try to give them better this year. Hopefully soon. I feel like the time to read these books is probably like April to June, or even like summer. I feel like after that, the vibes are just not there for me. Maybe because I read this in May, so I have that association in my head that I read them at around that time. But this has to happen this year. Hopefully in 1-2 months I can read the whole series and finally complete it and see what I think of it, because honestly it's such a blur. I really don't know where my head was at. I don't remember a lot of it, so I feel like I need to give them a new chance. Another series that I would really like to reread so I can finally finish it is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I currently only own the second book. I found it secondhand, and I'm trying to find the rest of the series because I read them from the library at one point, and I read the first Andy's book, the second book. I've never finished The Stone Sky. I've never read this entire trilogy, this entire arc, and I really want to. I don't like leaving series dangling like that, especially when I've enjoyed the series. I'm not scared to DNF a series, but I don't like to leave them dangling this much, especially when there's only 1 book left. But again, we get into that cycle of it's been so long that now I don't have 1 book to read. I have 3 books to read because I have to reread the whole series. And this series in particular is so complex and it's so high fantasy and requires so much brain power that I absolutely do need to reread this. I also need to immerse myself in this world again because it will not be easy to remember what happened if I just start the 3rd book right now. So this also needs to happen soon. You'll be hearing that a lot. Soon means the rest of the year, okay? It's not really a challenge because it's just something that I would like to do. I'm not really challenging myself to read all of these books before the year ends, but it's just something that I would like to do. But I definitely would like to finish this series and see how it ends because it's so acclaimed. I want to see what happens. The next series that I'm going to be talking about is a series that I'm less daunted by and more excited to be rereading, and that is the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. I absolutely love this middle grade series. I really cannot tell you why. I really wasn't expecting that. I just fell in love with the series, and I've only read it once. I read the first 2 books, and then I was going to read the 3rd one because I do own it, but then I noticed that the 4th book, which is finally coming out in 2025, here it comes out in May, took like 5 years to get published. So I was kind of like, okay, I only read the first 2, and when we get closer to the publishing date, I'm going to reread the first 2, read the 3rd one, and then jump right into the 4th one. So that is definitely what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be reading this series in April, that is for sure, because of the 4th book that is coming out in early May. And I honestly couldn't be more excited. I love this series a lot, but I just also don't remember a lot of it because I feel like it was in 2023. No, maybe it was 2022. I'm not sure. I just know that I have to read this at this point. I have to know where we're at, but I love the first 2 books a lot, and I cannot wait because I feel like even with the reread, I think that I'm still going to love it so much. And finally, in terms of series, we have a book that I've been thinking about a lot, and I feel like I've been mentioning a lot, and that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I read the first book on ebook. I think it was on Script like a couple of years ago, around the time that it came out, and then I just never continued on with the series, and I finally acquired Legendborn. So I don't have the rest of the series yet. I just wanted to reread this first one to see if I still feel as passionate about it to own the 3 of them in hardbacks, because that is a commitment, that is an investment. So I really want to reread Legendborn, see how I feel, see if I still really enjoyed it, if I enjoy it enough to actually purchase the rest of the series in hardbacks to have a matching set. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. I remember having a lot of fun, but it was also kind of complicated, and I didn't know a lot about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table at the time. But now that I know more or less what to expect, I feel like I'm going to enjoy it more. But I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to reading this one. I've seen some mixed reviews on Oathbound, but I don't know. I love this cover so much. Like, this book is so beautiful. But yeah, this also has to happen soon so I can see if the rest of the series is worth owning or not. The last series that I want to talk about is a series that I have finished, so that's why it's not with these. A series that I have finished and I would just like to reread the whole series because I loved it a lot, and that is the Athena Club series by Theodora Goss. And the first book is A Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I loved these books so much, and I just had the best time with them. They have all of my favorite elements. They have found family, a lot of girl characters that I love so much. It has a mystery. It's set in Victorian London, which is one of my favorite settings. And there's just so much that I love about the series, and I just read them all also in like a blur, and I feel like that was 2022, or was it 2023? Why can I not remember the years? I don't know, but I read them either 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm actually due for a reread because I love the series so much. It was one of my favorite series, and I just had the best time reading it, and I would just like to push myself to do that again. But if the first book is okay, like this book is 400 pages, the second book is 800 pages for no good reason. I really loved it either way, but there's no good reason for that book to be 800 pages. So it's a little bit daunting. And again, I was scared of wasting time reading a book that is 800 pages when I have so many newer books to read. But sometimes you just have to listen to your heart and say, no, I want to reread. I feel like rereading. My heart is calling me to reread it. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do. I don't have a timing for this one yet. I think the first time that I read them, it was around summertime or maybe like September. So maybe around that time. I don't have a set schedule for this. It's just something that I would like to do this year because, I don't know, I love the series a lot and I had a lot of fun. And I want to meet these characters again and just immerse myself in this really cute world that Theodora Goss created. And finally, I have here some standalone books that I would just like to reread just because. And the first one that I have is The Deep by River Solomon. I read this book, or more, I listened to this book on audiobook at the time, also on Script, I think, when I had my subscription. I have to renew it, but I've just been focusing on my physical TBR at the moment. But The Deep was such a beautiful story, and I think about it a lot, and I think that it's really worth reading or listening to on audio. But now that I do own a physical copy, I would love to reread it and annotate it because I remember just some beautiful passages about intergenerational trauma and the weight of memories and how they can shape who you are today and how your ancestors shape who you are today and their trauma. And it was just a really intriguing premise, and the language is really beautiful. I feel like River Solomon is such a talented author that I want to read the backlist of. But I think I could start by rereading this book. It's short. It's sweet. It's not really sweet, but it's short. And I think that I'm going to have a beautiful time just writing things down and annotating this beautiful book. Then we have a book that I'm a bit scared to reread because I don't feel like I'm going to enjoy it as much now. That is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read this book when it was all the hype. I read this when I first got back into reading, before I even created my booktube channel. I think it was 2018 maybe, or 2019, but I think it was more like 2018. So it's been over 6 years, which is really scary, and I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it. At the time, it wasn't a perfect 5-star for me. It was a book that I really enjoyed, but at the time, either I wasn't really into it, or I don't know, I just didn't really love it that much to become an all-time favorite like I know it's so many people's. But I feel like I'm finally ready to reread it, but will I enjoy it? that is a question, because I just don't know if I want to tarnish the image that I have of this book. But at the same time, maybe now I could appreciate it more and it could become a 5-star. It could become a favorite. So there are a lot of thoughts to be had with this one. Do you think that I should reread The Song of Achilles? Do you think it's really, she's that girl? Do you think that she's that girl? Should I reread it, or should I just leave it in my memory as a book that I really enjoyed, but that was kind of it? Let me know. Then of course we have Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. This, one of my all-time favorite books. I read this one time, also on ebook. I finally have a physical copy, so you know what that means. It means that I have to read it to annotate it. Yes, that's what's going to happen with this one. I love doing that. I love reading books on ebook, and then when I finally have them physically, I love rereading them. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this one. There's not a lot to say about Elena Knows. It's devastating. It's really sad. It's a really intriguing look into disability and family drama, especially between like mother and daughter relationship. There's a lot. Most of it's really, really sad, but I really loved it. And though it's a short read, it's a very heavy one. So I have to be mentally ready for that. I have to. And I'm not sure that this is the time, but hopefully before the year ends, I'll knock this one out and I'll have a beautiful, sad time again. On to the last two books, because I have been yapping for a long time. But the second to last book that I want to talk about is Read It to Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. Again, also a book that wasn't the most memorable when I read it. I feel like I read it a little bit too quickly because it is a short book. I don't quite remember it. And I feel like this book is worth revisiting. I feel like the writing in this book, the prose is so beautiful, and I feel like I just need to give it a bit more time as well, a bit more mental space. I feel like this book deserves that, and I feel like I really didn't give it the first time that I read it. So I do want to revisit it. I want to take my time with it and really soak it all in, because I feel like this writing is so beautiful. I actually don't know what Jacqueline Woodson is up to these days. I have to see if they have any other books out, because I really don't know. I haven't heard a lot about this author lately, but it's a book that I also really want to reread, and I think it's definitely going to be worth the time that I'm going to be putting into it. So I also don't know when this is going to happen. Maybe in summertime. That sounds kind of good to me, so that might be it. And finally, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.A. Gibson, also one of my all-time favorite books, question mark. Again, read it on ebook, loved it, finally have the physical copy. Really want to read it and annotate it, because the writing in this is also spectacular. I really loved this book when I first read it. It's kind of a retelling of Dracula. It actually features like a polyamorous couple, which is really usually not my thing, but somehow S.C. Gibson just makes it work. I love the history element of it. I love the little like letters. I love the epistolary nature of this book as well, and I just think that it's gorgeous, and it's missing a lot of tabs. So I'm due for a reread. I probably should have done it earlier in the year, because now spring is going to start and this is not a very spring book, so I probably should have already done it, but I haven't, and I need to do it. So because this book, if you haven't read it, try it, because it's beautiful. It's also kind of devastating, but it's beautiful. All right, friends, and these are all, ooh, so many. These are all of the books that I would like to reread before the year ends. I'm going to count them to let you know. On this stack, I have 11, and that is really not counting the series that I have to read more than one book for. For example, The Raven Cycle. I only have here The Raven Boys, but it's 3 books that I have to reread. So it's probably around 20 books, which again is a lot of the percentage of books that I read in an entire year, and it feels wasteful to reread books when I have so many books to read for the first time. But I don't know, my heart is just calling me. I almost never reread books. Almost every year I just have new books and new books and new books, and I thought that I would get over this fear. Again, if this doesn't happen this year, I can just reread them next year as well. But I think it's finally time for me to let go of this innate fear that I will waste my reading time. Hopefully I have a lot of reading years left, hopefully, if the world doesn't end, but I have to enjoy it. And if that means rereading books I already loved, then so be it. Please let me know your relationship with rereading books in the comments. Do you love it? Do you do it? Do you avoid it? How do you feel about it? Do you feel guilt when you reread books? Let me know all of your thoughts, if you have any, down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for bookish content. And I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.